Hi, I'm Dr. Dave Janda. Welcome back to Operation Freedom Briefings. This is a special edition of Operation Freedom Briefings at the request of the subscribers to DaveJanda.com. Obviously, we had this election goat rodeo, actually criminal stealing event. Let's just call it, we had the old coup that they tried on President Trump for 3.5 years, almost 4 years. Let's call this one the new coup. This new coup is based on election tampering, just is such a benign word. Election criminal manipulation and subversion. I taped my usual WTF show that I put out every Wednesday where I bring information forward from my contacts from behind the curtain about what's really happening. We provide that to our subscribers on DaveJanda.com. But then I did an addendum based on post-election analysis. And I've asked our IT people, based on our subscribers' request, to cut that portion out and provide it to you here on the YouTube channel for general public consumption. Our subscribers were very fired up about it, about the information presented. I stand behind the information presented in that analysis. Look, our country's on the line. I am very encouraged about the trending that is occurring in Arizona. I think that's the key. That's the marker in the sand. Watch Arizona. At the time of me recording this, President Trump is about, I think, close to about a little less than 70,000 votes behind. There are some fantastic data analysis people. Rich Barris from People's Pundit is, I think, the best in the business. And he's looking pretty positive on it. There are other individuals I know with some data analytics companies that are very positive on what's happening in Arizona. That's where we have to watch. That's the key. Watch Arizona. And I think so goes Arizona, so goes what's going to happen in the days and weeks to come. Steady, firm hands on this, as you'll see in the clip, what that statement's all about. Bottom line is, this is not over by any stretch of the imagination. And that's not hopium. That's fact. And the best thing you can do is network the information, network the video. That's if they don't take it down. Now, they took the interview I did with General Tom McInerney on last Sunday's radio show about the hammer and scorecard and how the deep state was going to manipulate the election. And that's exactly what happened with these huge dumps of data at 4 o'clock in the morning. We talked about that in the show. Now, we uploaded that to YouTube Sunday night. It lasted Sunday night, Monday, and then 7:11 in the morning on Election Day morning, Tuesday, November 3rd, I got a notification it was taken down. Well, so what we did, and I'll put the link in the pinned statement, the first statement on the top of the comment section, I will put a link again to what we took that interview with General McInerney about how, from an electronic standpoint, IT standpoint, they were going to steal this and how it was going to gradually do these 3% things and then a big dump of votes. And what do we see here in Michigan? 138,000 all of a sudden dumped at 4 o'clock in the morning. In Wisconsin, 122,000 dumped at 4 o'clock in the morning. Virginia, someone said there was a dump of 400,000 votes for Biden's, nothing for Trump. So again, take that link. It'll take you right to our homepage at DaveJanda.com with the interview. Listen to it and network it. The more people that we have knowledgeable about the facts, the sooner we end this reign of terror by the deep state. Thank you for joining us today. Now we're going to go to that post-election a bit dissection that I presented to our subscribers. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you become part of our freedom family at DaveJanda.com. Thanks for your time today. Well, this is our post-election day addendum. Houston, we got a problem. My mom, the history teacher, I've talked to you about her many times before. she drilled into me from when the time I was a young man, or a young boy, actually. And actually throughout my, not childhood and then young adulthood and old adulthood until she passed away in 2006. She was a history teacher. And one of the first things she taught me was the duel between Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr. And there are a lot of sides to it, but I'll make it quick. It comes down to why Alexander Hamilton lost the duel. And as she relayed to me, it was because his hand quivered. And as she told me from very young in life, there are times in your life where you're going to be put in a situation that is really not only important, but potentially your life is on the line. And you're either going to be Alexander Hamilton and quiver, or you're going to be Aaron Burr and have a steady hand. Well, I've always chosen to be Aaron Burr in that regard, to not quiver. And I think all of us need to at this point. I'm doing this late Wednesday morning. This is the latest I can go before I can get it to Nick and the IT team to get it linked in with our first part of the WTF show that you saw. Things were looking pretty good, as you know. And as a physician, one of the most frustrating things that I would have to deal with when I was treating patients for 32 years, sorry, I'm a little tired, I was up all night, is when a patient would come to you, you give them a diagnosis, and they would not accept the lab results or your analysis, and especially if it was something with a diagnosis of cancer. And they wouldn't even want to hear about what their options were. They would just say, I don't believe this, I'm out of here, and run away. And I feel a bit like that this morning. As you know, General Tom McInerney and I, on Sunday, brought forward information that what was potentially going to happen about the electronic stealing of votes. That there was going to be this shell game about, ballots, but the real stealing was going to occur from the polling places to the Secretary of State's office in each state. And that's what's happened. It's how they've stolen, at this point, Michigan and Wisconsin, and how they've made the vote close in Georgia, North Carolina, Arizona, Nevada. And these are the states they've targeted. And they'll do the same. They'll bring the vote count down in Pennsylvania over the ensuing time period. We did everything possible, I can assure you, to get this in the hands of the president and to get it to people around him to act upon. My analysis at this point, and maybe it's premature, is they apparently believed all of us. But they either did not act on it, or they thought they acted on it. They were being told by certain people that it was taken care of, and it was not. And that's why we're in the situation we are today. As I mentioned in the first part of this video, the first part of this whole election cycle started many months ago, as you all know. But specifically about this presidential election, they tried the mail-in voting issue. That didn't work. The censorship issue, we just saw President Trump getting censored. They censored the video I did with General McInerney from the Sunday radio show, right? But we have that now on and you know what? This would be good. On our homepage at davejanda.com, in a big red banner, is the interview. And you can send it to everybody you know, because this will explain why we're in this situation, because it's not going to end today. You know, Joe Biden at 5 o'clock today is going to say, I'm president of the United States. No, you're not. No, you're not. Oh, there's a whole lot of water that's going to go under the bridge before that would potentially happen. So take that interview and let people know this was said the Sunday before the election. So when they see, wait a minute, how did 138,000 votes come in at 4 o'clock in the morning for Joe Biden in Michigan? How did that, and none for Trump? Or how did 112,000 votes come in Wisconsin at 3:30 in the morning and none for Trump? How did that happen? All they have to do is listen to that interview, because we told them. And that's what's so frustrating. We took this to the highest levels. And trying to get an answer out of them this morning is, well, it's very difficult. Because we kept pushing them. A number of us. It's completely preventable. So they had the mail-in voting set, but that wasn't cutting it. So then they had to do the censorship stuff, kicking people off of YouTube and Twitter, and even the president, his tweets are getting deleted. Then they had to do the fake polls, right? Oh, Biden up 17, 18. Yeah. That was, again, to demoralize people. And then we had the fake endorsement issues, the former heads of the CIA and all that kind of stuff. But remember what I said. Trump wins Tuesday night. When I went to bed at 3:30 this morning now, November 4th, he was ahead in many states. Well, I'll give you the speech he gave briefly at 3:15 in the morning. He was ahead. But then I said they were going to close it with vote fraud. That's some of the ballot stuff. And then they were going to come in with the electronic hit. And that's the big dump. Those are the big dumps of votes. We told them. And then they're going to start covering it up, right? They're going to start putting out commercials. Well, we want to count all the votes, but but Joe Biden won. No, if anything, Joe Biden tried to steal it. But it's not over. And as I mentioned, the last step is the lawyers are involved. That's where we are now. The other thing I told you is don't trust Fox News. I hope to gosh you didn't watch Fox News last night. I didn't. I watched Steve Bannon with his War Room on YouTube. I had that going. I had Newsmax going. I had Tracy Bean's work with Larry Schweikert going. I had 3 different things going on. My wife was like... And I had the phone going because we were on the phone with a number of people in a number of states, what was happening, blah, blah, blah. But remember what I told you about Fox News and the guy running the election desk, Aaron Mishkin. From Paul Sperry, and here it is again. Records reveal the analyst who will run Fox News election decision desk is a registered Democrat who voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016, gave Democrats more than $4,000, including $1,525 for Obama. Aaron Mishkin will announce the states for Biden or Trump on election night. So do you wonder why they held Georgia and then, we were a mistake there. And then they did the same thing with Arizona, and that put the stop on it. Who ever heard of putting a stop on counting votes? And if you are going to stop counting votes, then you go to a judge, and this is where the Trump people messed up on a second front. Not only on the electronic issue, but on this issue. They should have gone to a judge and say, Judge, where in American history do you stop counting votes? That's not going to happen. Remember, if you go back to Bush v. Gore, that was in 2000. That was a total of 537 votes in Florida. Okay? And they're stopping the vote with President Trump up 600,000 votes at the time in Pennsylvania. Michigan, he's up 300,000 votes. And remember, in Michigan, the Attorney General, who's an acolyte of Soros, came in and said, we're going to stop counting. So what happens? Rather than go to the court and get a judge out of bed and say, count the votes, or if you don't want to count, if you're not going to do that, which where in the Constitution does it say you can just stop counting votes, then order cordon everything off so nobody has access to anything. They didn't do any of that. So what happens is the AG goes, no, we're not going to count votes until tomorrow morning. And this is in Michigan. And what happens? Everybody goes home. Well, not everybody. Just the people that, represent Trump go home. And all of a sudden, these dumps start coming in, and they have access to all the computers. And next thing I know, I go to bed at 3:45, and I wake up at 6 o'clock, and all of a sudden that leads down to less than 50,000 votes. Wait a minute, 250,000 votes? Where did that come from? Because the voter turnout in Detroit was supposedly terrible. But Fox was running. They're the ones who called. Their goal was to choke it, stop it. And then all of a sudden these AGs will stop in, no more vote counting. And then they could do their magic. Anyone that keeps watching Fox, shame on you. Shame on you. President Trump delivered his speech at 2:20 in the morning. If you missed it, let me give it a little highlights. President Trump said, quote, "Millions and millions of people voted for us tonight, and a very sad group of people is trying to disenfranchise that group of people, and we won't stand for it," end quote. He said he was getting ready for a, quote, "big celebration. We were winning everything, and all of a sudden it was just called off," end quote. Quote, "We won states that we weren't expecting to win. It's also clear that we've won Georgia. We're up 2.5%. Arizona, we have a lot of life." And then somebody said, well, declared it was a victory for Biden. That would be Fox. That would be this Michigan guy. Yeah. "We've clearly won North Carolina. We're up 1.4%. Most importantly, we're winning Pennsylvania by a tremendous amount. The Times, 700,000 votes. We had such a big night. You look at all the margins. We won them. And then what happened to the election is it's all of a sudden off," end quote. Trump said Democrats, quote, "knew they couldn't win, so they said, let's go to court," end quote. Where'd you hear that before? Quote, "This is a fraud on the American public. This is an embarrassment to our country. We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election." He did. "So our goal now is to ensure the integrity of the good of this nation. We will be going to the U.S. Supreme Court. We want all voting to stop. We don't want them to find any ballots at 4 a.m. in the morning and add them to the list. We will win this." And what did they do? What did they do? They found the votes at 4 a.m. in the morning. And here we are. And you got the bought-off lamestream fake media saying, Joe Biden won. And Joe Biden said, "I'm going to talk." Yeah, I'll tell you, he'll talk. Let's see how many sentences he can string together. "I'm going to talk at 5 p.m. Okay, look. When I went to bed at 3:30, here's where we were. Let me just go through it. Georgia. President was up 52-47, ahead by 200,000 votes. North Carolina. He was up 50-48. He was up 100,000 votes. Pennsylvania, 57-42. The president is ahead. Ahead 700,000 votes. Wisconsin, he was up 51-47. He was up 100,000 votes. Michigan, 54-45. The president was ahead 9 points when I went to bed at 3:30 in the morning. He was up 300,000 votes. Now, I think one of the best guys as far as election analysis is Rich Barris, and he was on War Room Pandemic with Steve Bannon last night, and he was also with Tracy Beans on Decision Desk there that she had. And Barris is outstanding. And Barris was looking at this thing at 3 o'clock in the morning saying, well, North Carolina, there's just not enough votes for Biden to close 100,000. Pennsylvania, 700. He goes, forget it. He goes, no matter what they try to do in Pennsylvania, they can. He goes, Wisconsin, he goes, if you look at what's out, he goes, there's no way he can close 100,000. Could he close at 30,000? Yeah, maybe. Michigan, he goes, 300,000? He goes, no. He goes, and a lot of Detroit is in, out of Wayne County. He goes, there's no way he can close that. And he goes, Georgia, he goes, he's down 200,000 votes. There's no way in what's standing. And Barris is the best in the business. All right. So then we wake up. What do we find? Well, the president was up 100,000 in Georgia, or 200,000 in Georgia when we went to sleep. Well, now he's up 100,000. Let's look at North Carolina. He was up about 100,000, and now this morning he's up 75,000. Okay, well, all right. Well, a little whittling away there. And then we go to Pennsylvania. He's still up 700,000. Well, he was up 700,000. Now he's up 600,000. I wonder where those 100,000 votes came from. Yeah. Wisconsin. He was up 100,000 votes, and as Bear said, no votes of any substance should be coming in. And he was up 100,000, and Trump was. And this morning, Biden's up 21,000. What? How did that happen? Let me tell you how it happened. 112,000 ballots for Biden, 0 for Trump, came in at the same time. What's the chance? 112,000 to 0. The answer to that is that the chance of that happening? 0. Unless it's a criminal act. Yeah. 112,000 for Biden, 0 for Trump. There's your 21,000 lead. Michigan. Oh, you'll love this one. The president was up 300,000 when I went to bed. As of this morning, Biden is up 20,000. What? My buddies are on the ground in hand-to-hand combat down there. Okay, and here's what I heard. 3:45 this morning, 35,000 ballots came in by a truck for Biden. How many for Trump? 0. What? So there's their paper shenanigans, but then it gets better. Here comes their electronic shenanigans. At 4 a.m., all of a sudden, there were 135,339 votes for Biden and 3,000 for Trump. Where do you think that came from? Can you say scorecard? In addition, my guys on the ground tell me, and these are these are people that have been in political office for many years, there's double counting going on. There's a huge number of people that voted by absentee and then came in and voted again, a second time. Yeah. And how do they know that? They're starting to match voter signatures for these double ballots. And then one of my good friends, former senator in the state of Michigan, had been in touch with the folks about what scorecard was about. And he determined that the polling places throughout Michigan, and in particular in Detroit, were just right online, easily hacked. And he said, wait a minute, whoa. This can't, you got to cordon these things off. They cannot just be directly connected to the internet because somebody can get in there and change votes. They did nothing. So where do we stand? Well, the Trump administration is talking about a recount in Wisconsin. There needs to be a recount in Michigan, without a doubt. You don't have 138,000 dump. President Trump this morning said, "Last night I was leading, often solidly, in many key states. In almost all instances, Democrat run and controlled. Then one by one, they started to magically disappear as surprise ballot dumps were counted. Very strange. And the pollsters got it completely and historically wrong." I close with this. A quote by Joseph Stalin. This is what this country looks like it's becoming, potentially. Quote, "I consider it completely unimportant who in the party will vote or how. But what is extraordinarily important is this: who will count the votes and how." End quote. I will keep you apprised of what is happening. I will do everything to keep you in the loop. But this is not a time when our hands should waver. Solid, straight, firm. I believe Donald Trump will do that. As you know, I've been very concerned about a number of people that surround him that I believe haven't served him well. And the past couple days before the election and weeks before the election, those fears in my mind grew significantly. That's old news. We have to deal with today's data. I believe in Arizona, the Trump, and talking to the folks in there, they believe they have that when the votes do come in, and hopefully they won't be tampered with significantly, although I believe that was at a minimally, potentially attempted, if not actually goosed a little bit already in Biden's favor, that they believe the president will win Arizona. They believe he could well turn Nevada. But then watch what they do to Pennsylvania. They already showed you what they did in Michigan and what they did in Wisconsin. We are going to keep the heat on them about doing the right thing. I can assure you that. My dad used to say, and I've told you this before, in times of trouble, when things look really not so great, panic is easy. But a measured, rational, firm approach is what is difficult. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to fight. We're going to do everything in our power. I think the best thing you can do is keep the faith. Pray. And take that interview I did with General McInerney that YouTube tried to deep six. It's on our homepage at davejanda.com. You can just, when you hit it, you'll have to get a link. Listen to it again. And then send it to anyone and everyone you know so they know exactly what happened and how it happened. We're not going to shut up about it either. I thank you for your time. I thank you for subscribing to this platform. Dream big and dare to fail.